Welcome back to the Pricing Channel for Small Businesses. Today we're going to dive into the sometimes mysterious world of psychological pricing and charm pricing. This is the strategic pricing area where we, the sellers, try to convince the buyer that there is more value in our offering than maybe they perceive, or the price of our offering isn't as high as they think it is. Now, some consumers might think these pricing tactics are somewhat deceptive, and there certainly are cases where sellers have used these tactics in deceptive ways. But at the root of these tactics is the desire on the consumer's part to always get a deal. As buyers, we are always looking for a deal, for a way to get more for our money. So this just naturally leads us into the first area of psychological pricing called charm pricing. And here is the classic example of charm pricing: gasoline prices. Why is gasoline priced with a trailing digit of 9? In the picture here, the price is quoted as $4.65.9 instead of $4.66. The reasoning behind this is that since we read from left to right, our brain sees this price as $4.65 instead of $4.66, irrespective of the fact that the real difference is only 1/10 of a penny. Now, the opposite of charm pricing is something called prestige pricing. And let's look at a picture of a Rolex watch to illustrate how this works. If you see a Rolex watch offered for sale on eBay for, say, $5,000, you probably believe that that's a genuine Rolex watch, even if you don't intend to spend $5,000 on a watch. But if you see a Rolex watch advertised on eBay for $99, what's your first thought? Well, it's a fraud, it's a knockoff, it's a copy, it's anything but a real Rolex watch. So prestige pricing is used to denote value in a product as well as exclusivity. Not everyone can buy one, and for some people, that sense of exclusivity itself is the real value. Another psychological pricing tactic related to prestige pricing is called anchoring. Anchoring is used to give a marker for product value. You see, when a consumer is unsure of the value of a product, they will try and compare that product to something they think they know the value of. As an anchoring example, let's pretend that we're in a classy restaurant looking at the wine menu. And we see bottles of wine listed for $50 a bottle, $150 a bottle, and more. And we ask ourselves, are they worth it? And it can be hard for most of us to know. But what if we see a bottle of wine listed at $1,000 a bottle? Now, we may not be likely to order that bottle of wine, but because of the anchoring pricing tactic, we assume that bottle of wine must be a really great bottle of wine to be priced at $1,000. And so now we say to ourselves, well, that $50 bottle of wine sounds pretty reasonable. And so from a pricing tactics standpoint, that $1,000 bottle of wine has anchored our spending expectations so that we now believe that $50 for a bottle of wine is a very reasonable price. And guess what? That restaurant probably doesn't have a single bottle of $1,000 wine in stock, because they're really not trying to sell you that bottle, they're trying to sell you the $50 bottle. Another psychological tactic involves unbelievable bargains. And so let's take a look at a few examples of those. And one of those unbelievable tactics is the buy one and get one free tactic. Do you really think you're getting something free out of that? Or how about the tire sale that says, buy 3 tires and get the 4th one free? Do you really think you're getting that 4th one for free? And how about Amazon Prime? Free 2-day shipping. Oh, you have to pay $120 to sign up for Amazon Prime, so maybe that shipping isn't all that free. Or how about furniture stores that have a huge sale saying, we're going to pay the sales tax on your order today? You really think they're paying the sales tax? Look at this picture for a flooring company. They're also telling you that they're going to pay the sales tax. Do you really think they are? Deep down, somewhere deep within us, we know that these bargains aren't real. But we go for them anyway because we want to get the deal. And here's a tactic we see all the time. The tactic of the time constraint. Our big blowout sale ends today. Harbor Freight runs this all the time, and it creates a sense of urgency in us. If we don't get down there before it's over, we won't ever see that bargain again. At least not for a week at Harbor Freight. Now, some of these tactics might seem pretty silly, and really they are. But we sellers use them because they work. And as buyers, deep down in our souls, we know that there's some gimmickry going on with these pricing tactics, but we still go and buy anyway because we just love that adventurous sense of getting a deal. Now, there's also a more serious side to psychological pricing that truly helps steer buyers into making purchases that really bring value to them and helps them meet their needs. And so let's take a look at the tactic that we call perspective pricing.
Perspective pricing is a pricing strategy that helps consumers obtain products or services that they really want or really need. And so the goal of perspective pricing is to help guide them to an understanding that the value of their needs is aligned with the price of the offering. And so basically with perspective pricing, it lets the consumer give themselves permission to go ahead and make the purchase. Let's look at an example to kind of show how this works. Let's say you've taken your car into an auto repair shop for some major repairs, transmission, engine, something like that. And that when you receive the bill, it really gives you sticker shock. You're amazed at how big it is because it's a $2,500 car repair bill that you weren't necessarily expecting to get. And so what the auto repair place can do to give you some perspective on the bill is to first of all say, well, it's not nearly as large a sum of money as buying a new car would be, or it's not that large a sum when you consider buying a used car that might have some significant unknown problems. And so while these comments from the auto repair shop won't make the bill any easier for the consumer to pay, it does give them some perspective on why the repairs themselves and the resulting bill do in fact bring value to them. And by realizing that value, it makes it easier, at least on a psychological level, to think that yes, paying the bill is the right thing to do. Now, let's look at another example. How about a couple of home buyers who are looking at a potential cabinet upgrade for their new home that they're building? And so the builder tells them that, okay, I can get you custom made cabinets for your new house, but those will cost $35,000 more than the generic cabinets that we get from Home Depot or Lowe's or some mass manufacturer. Now, if the homeowners just reject that outright, then there's really probably no need for the builder to try to set a perspective on that for them. But if they're definitely interested, but a little concerned about the price upgrade, the builder can provide them some perspective by saying that, well, compared to the $925,000 purchase price of your house, $35,000 more really isn't that much. Also, the builder can point out that, for this money, you're definitely adding value to that house. And quite likely, down the road, if you decide to sell the house because you move, those cabinets are probably going to bring you more value in terms of resale price when you do move. The builders could also point out that if the owners are getting a mortgage for this house, that the increase of $35,000 to the principal of a loan is only going to add a few dollars each month to the mortgage payment. We might also point out that prospective pricing as a strategy also works in the business-to-business world. And so we were involved once as a company in putting together an equipment upgrade package for the U.S. nuclear submarine fleet. And the package was approximately $680,000 as an upgrade per boat. Now, since that was unbudgeted, the people who were looking at that upgrade price had a little bit of concern about coming up with that much money for a single piece of equipment. But we pointed out two things that helped push that deal through. And the first one was the equipment upgrade definitely added to the mission capability of each submarine that it would be installed on. Also, we pointed out that $680,000, while being a lot of money, was not that much of an increase when you consider the base purchase price of $2.3 billion for a nuclear submarine. And so making those points, we were able to sell that deal. So why is it that prospective pricing does work as a pricing strategy and as a set of pricing tactics? Well, first of all, offering some perspective to the buyer frames the price in terms of a reality that helps a customer make sense of that price. So, for example, in the case of the auto repair bill, yes, it's a lot of money, but compared to buying a new car or compared to buying a used car with unknown problems, the price and the action taken that resulted in the price makes sense. It does provide value. Also, perspective helps a customer justify the purchase price, even if the price is beyond their personal budget, or as we've said in previous videos, their willingness to pay. So the perspective kind of gives them the opportunity to understand that it's okay to go beyond their willingness to pay or their personal budget. Another way to say that is the perspective that we offer as sellers helps the customer give themselves permission to make a purchase that breaks a rule, the rule being their budget or their willingness to pay.
As we can see from the presentation, prospective pricing isn't really intended to sell people products or services that they don't need. On the contrary, it's intended to give them permission to make those purchases because they really want to. And so I hope this look into the area of psychological pricing has been both informing and maybe a little bit entertaining. Do you sell products or services that might benefit from some of these tactics? If you have any examples, questions, or comments, please put them in the comments section below. And remember, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a single video. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again.